Hey guys, thank you so much for watching the Replayer podcast. If you like what you see, feel free to hit the like button and subscribe to us on YouTube to stay up to date with all of our latest content. If you want to support the show, you can do that too by clicking on the support link in the description box below.
Thanks, Pagan. If you guys want to support us, you can get started for as little as $1 a month. All soup will be put towards improving the podcast and helping us keep doing what we love, meeting replayers. You can get started by going to anchor.fm/thereplayerpodcast/support or click on the link in the show notes. Thank you.
To the Replayer podcast. I'm Pagan, your host this week, and joining me is, of course, my lovely co-host Dan.
Hello.
Hello. And joining us this week is the lovely Dustin. Hello, Dustin.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Oh,
Lovely,
you're
Dustin.
welcome. My pleasure. It's our pleasure to have you here. How are
pleasure.
you coming in from Australia?
Yes.
Yes, super early.
Bright and early.
Thank you for being so creative.
52 a.m.
If someone asked me to be on a podcast at like 7 a.m., I would have been like,
can we acknowledge the fact that we're all three like evenly split across the globe right now? Between like you in Ireland, Dustin in Australia, me in the center of US.
Yeah. Wow. We are an international podcast though.
That's
We've
right.
always been. So
Yeah.
this is nice. It's nice. It feels homely. It feels right.
A nice diverse mixture.
Sure is.
All white people.
All white people.
I'm kidding. Not always.
I meant geographic.
Oh, okay.
It's true.
I gotcha. My mistake.
Mean, if I'm African. I'm still white, but I am African.
Yeah, I think your Irish side has taken over your pigmentation.
It definitely has. Yeah. Oh well.
You couldn't tell you're not Irish, huh?
I feel like no one ever believed me when I said I was from South Africa, and a lot of the times I would, because when I moved here, I had obviously a much thicker South African accent, and people would be like, "Oh, so what part of Australia are you from?" And I was like, "I'm not from Australia. I'm from South Africa." And I swear to God, the majority response to that question, right? What part of Australia are you from? I'm not from Australia. I'm from South Africa. And they go, "Are you sure?" And I was like, yes. Like I think so. I don't know. Let me check my birth cert. I'll just check.
Are you sure?
Are you sure
where
you're
you're from?
South Africa? I don't know.
Well,
Not falling for it.
I don't think I've ever heard a genuine South African accent. I've only heard ones that I've been in, movies and stuff like that. And I don't think
Really?
they're entirely genuine.
Oh well, I can do the whole podcast.
I'm not 100% sure.
I can do the whole podcast in a South African accent if you'd like.
Do it.
How, like we speak would be very flat. We'd be very like large. Margot Maritz. Oh fuck it, Margot.
Why does it sound so posh?
I'm so sorry. Because I'm okay. Okay.
I think that might be the Irish accent sneaking in there.
Okay. Here's the thing. South Africa obviously has a multitude of languages. It's 26 different languages or something like that the last time I checked. Right? So, English speakers who like first language speakers have more of a flat English tone. And then there are Afrikaans speakers that are almost like Dutch. And they would have like a harsher tone, like say, for example, in the movie District 9.
You sound nothing like Laura Bailey.
Mm.
Sorry, I did that on purpose.
You know what? I love Laura Bailey, and I think that she did such a good job. However,
anyways,
Laura and I can discuss.
What are we here for? What are we doing?
Yeah, what are we doing? Anyway, it was a super pleasure to have you here, Dustin. With us. We usually start off with our podcast show with some silliness, and we just kind of get to know you and who you are as a replayer, and we just like to know kind of how you found the Retro Replay show and how you joined the community.
Why you replayer? What do you do?
Yeah. Why you replayer? What do you do here? Thank you for answer.
Yeah. Well, I came to the party really late. I had no idea that the show existed until the what was it? It was the Minesweeper Honest trailer.
Oh, really?
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That
which
is
was like
that is a bit late. It's level 3.
pretty. Yeah, no, I think it was pretty late into level 2
Ah.
because
That was
yeah, it was random
last fall.
just after they
Yeah, you're actually right.
yeah
It was.
yeah. So I had no idea the show existed because like I was just scrolling through YouTube and then I saw Minesweeper honest trailer and I saw Nolan North and Troy Baker there and I thought, oh yeah, I have to check this out. And then it said check out their channel Retro Replay. So I thought, oh, I didn't know they had their own YouTube channel. So yeah. And then I started a campaign to watch every single video on the channel.
Perfect.
As how it usually goes.
Yeah, if you've come in midway, it's like, great, I have 1,000 episodes to watch now. Great. I just like sitting back. Yeah, great.
I would say almost every replayer's story ever is like, well, I found out this thing existed. I watched an episode and proceeded to watch all of it.
Yeah, consumed it all.
If you're not going to watch all of the episodes, then there's no point.
It's true. I'd be really interested to meet somebody who was like, yeah, I clicked into an episode and then that was it. That was the episode I watched.
I'm a replayer, but I watched one episode and then stopped.
I watched that one episode that I clicked in and I was like, yeah, that was cool. And then I just left. I've never seen somebody get like not hooked on it because you just have to. For the hang, man. There for the hang. That's cool. So so from the Minesweeper episode, so it must have been late autumn sometime last year, October, something like that. Something like that.
Hold on, let me do a quick little bit of research.
Oh, Google.
I mean, we don't fact check on this show. Get out of here.
We don't fact check.
I fact check everything. I'm one of those.
I just
people.
like to go off of memory
brilliant.
and think and say, like, I remember watching that around the time that we had been doing the podcast for a few months. So I'm assuming roughly fall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so it was. Well, the honest trailer was November 6th. So.
Oh, and I said October. Look at that.
Boom.
Look at that. That was pretty close. That's a good estimate.
Like a day or so after that was released that I found out about the show.
Did you say you found out from that trailer or just after it, like you discovered it? That's so strange.
Yeah, because in that trailer they mentioned that they had their own YouTube channel, and I thought, oh, okay, I have to check that out.
I love that. We've had so many every time we say this, we've had so many people come on the show and like they've had I saw it on YouTube and I watched every episode. Where there's some people are like, I came in from the podcast, or I came in from Jacksepticeye, or I came in from a Minesweeper trailer. Like it's so, like you can come from anywhere, and it's really.
Well, I was actually really disappointed because like I was, I consider myself a fan of both Nolan and Troy long before I heard about the show, and I'm like, how did I not know this existed?
Oh, well, there you go. But the thing is, like, you kind of wouldn't. I mean, like, I didn't follow Troy or Nolan on social media before finding Retro Replay. So how would I ever know?
A part of my problem would have been Twitter. So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because, like, I have got Twitter, but I think I check it maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks or something.
Yeah,
I remember life like that.
Like I do follow Nolan and Troy on Twitter, but because I don't check Twitter often enough, I never would have seen them, put up tweets about the show. So yeah.
Yeah, because
if it hadn't have been for that Minesweeper trailer, I'd still never know about it.
Yeah,
and that's a scary thought.
Oh, that's really nice. Well, listen, recently I saw like a recent tweet or something, like a recent comment somewhere, could have been on Insta Live or something, where someone was like, wait, Troy and Nolan have a show together? Like this week I saw that, and I was like, ooh,
burn.
Yes, they
did.
They do. They have episodes you can go watch. Like basically, like congratulations, all of the episodes are on YouTube now. Yeah, so we kind of get to know replayers regarding like their replay journey, and then we
Real
start
quick,
asking
can I
some
throw in there
questions.
something before we move
Yeah,
on?
sure.
As far as tweets go, I was digging that tweet that Drew put out talking about the set design, like before the show was the show. Did you see that?
I sure did.
That was awesome. And
Have
Drew,
you've not seen
when you're
that?
listening to this,
Yeah,
huh? Like
Yeah,
my
yeah.
favorite thing was the little guy on the couch that had the shirt that just said nerds.
Yeah.
Like, this is what it's
So
gonna look
cute.
like.
Yeah. I have got to say, like, I say it often on this show, but I swear to God, I thought that was a basement. Until
I
it went on
know.
fire, I thought for sure that was a basement.
And Drew knows now.
And Drew fucking knows now. I was like, dude, I thought it was a basement. I am blonde. I just didn't think that they actually had a studio.
I just loved seeing those little behind the scenes bits that, like, oh my God, this was like a thing before it was a thing, you know? Like, obviously it was. Obviously there was the inception of the idea of the planning that they put into making the show. They didn't just walk into somebody's basement and hit record on a camera, but just seeing that little insight to the planning and like PJ like putting up the paneling, I was like, I love it. I'm just so into this right now.
The thing is, like, with the paneling and everything, like, that's what got me. That's what made me
paneling.
think it was a... Did you think it was, like... Did you think, like... Obviously, you came in November, but, like, did you ever be like, oh, this must be a real, like, basement? Or it's like, oh, it's a studio?
A part of me is still a little bit convinced that it is a basement.
Ah, yeah. That's
No,
why, Dustin.
Like,
Yes.
I refuse to believe that it's anything but a basement at this stage, because that's the kind of, just looking at like all the different like it has had some changes since the start, but any version of it is the man cave that I've always wanted.
Oh,
I second that
really
notion.
Good.
Especially
really
now
lovely.
that they've got the two arcade machines
Yes.
back.
Yeah. I loved that, like, any like bit of like fan paraphernalia that they've been given at cons and everything made it on the show, like made it into the background and onto the shelves and stuff. That was so perfect. That was such a good touch for that that set. So I hope they continue to do that. It looks so good now, but you know, just small bits here and there somewhere would be good.
Okay, you can move on now.
Yeah. Okay, you can ask the questions now. Thank you. Okay, thanks. Yeah, so we kind of asked some questions then about our replayer community and just sort of get to know you a little bit better in terms of a games world. And our first question is, what was your first introduction to gaming?
Oh, I barely remember. I think the first game that I ever remember playing was, I think it was California Games on Atari.
Oh shit!
That's how. Yeah.
Wow.
That's how far back I go.
Well, so, I don't have an Atari.
Do you know that game, Pagan?
I don't know the game. I know the Atari though.
You've never heard of California Games?
No. Hangs head in shame.
Let's just have a moment of silence.
It's a relic. It's a relic of the past.
Oh, really? Was it a good game?
For the time, it was.
Okay,
yeah, for an Atari game.
That's all that it needs to be then. Doesn't need to hold up right now, but as long as you had fun playing it.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. Well, they had a couple of different versions of it when they had it on a couple of different consoles, and they had a sequel as well. I don't remember anything about the Atari one, but I remember the one that me and my brothers played on. I think it was the Sega Master System.
Sega.
Sega.
Every time.
Sorry, I was going to say, so your first gaming experience was an Atari with the California Games.
Yeah. But I don't have many memories of it because I was really young.
I know for me, look, I think my first gaming experience would have been Atari. I think it was Atari. But like my strongest memories are Nintendo. But I do remember having an Atari.
Yeah,
so it was probably the Atari first.
Yeah. Well, the Nintendo Entertainment System was the first console that we actually owned, and we had. I remember this. We had Super Mario Brothers, and we had the Hunt for Red October game.
What? What is that?
Yeah.
Explain this game.
Literally just a submarine going around blowing stuff up. That's as much as I remember.
Nice.
So, but yeah, we had Super Mario Brothers.
Was it like the Jaws game?
I'm not sure. I don't know the Jaws game, and I barely remember that game. So,
all right, fair enough.
But yeah, we had Super Mario Brothers. The problem was we only had one controller, so if we wanted to play two players, it didn't allow you to pass and play. It actually wanted you to have two controllers to have two players. So if you die, you have to yank the controller out, put it into the second slot before the second player can go.
Wow.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
Commitment.
Yeah. Bit rough.
Go, 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 go. Like the rush as well. Like, fuck. So, Dustin, what's your preferred platform now? I presume you continue to play games since the Atari. What's your preferred platform now?
Well, primarily the PlayStation, because simply because of the exclusives.
Yeah.
Wow.
Beth is somewhere like being like, huh, that's another one for Pagan.
On her little blackboard.
On her little whiteboard. Yeah.
Well, definitely the exclusives on PlayStation.
Nice. But we kind of have been speaking about this before the show. Like you also do have an Xbox as well, right? You just prefer a platform.
Okay, so yes, I do have an Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Pretty much the only reason I got it is for Rare Replay.
Oh, nice.
What's that?
I'll let you explain.
I don't know what that is. Is that something?
Yeah. Okay. So, do you remember Banjo-Kazooie?
I know of it. Yeah.
You know the studio Rare and the games they make.
Yes.
Yes. Well, this was a compilation of games that they have made in the past.
And it's on Xbox.
Oh. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, Rare's owned by Microsoft.
Yeah,
now,
Microsoft had bought Rare back in like 2008.
Yeah. So
God, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Rare pretty much used to almost exclusively make games for Nintendo.
Oh.
Because
they made the amazing Donkey Kong Country.
Yes. Yeah, the Donkey Kong Country series. And then the Banjo series, they made possibly one of the greatest games of all time, Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Conker's Bad Fur Day, I was gonna say that.
Have you heard of that one, Pagan?
No.
Pagan is so
I'm
lost.
Sorry.
Okay. All right. It's an amazing game.
I'll see you later.
You should really check it out because it looks like at first glance it looks like a really cute cartoony like sort of kids game, but then the swearing and violence begins.
And nudity.
Excellent. It kind of sounds like those what are those creature things from like
Happy Tree Friends.
Happy Tree Friends. There you go.
Very much so.
Those things I was thinking of. Yeah.
I have I have Rare Replay. I might have to stream me some Conker's Bad Fur Day for Pagan to watch.
Okay, fine. I don't watch your streams.
It is.
Just kidding.
Well, I mean, even like the gameplay's sort of average. It's not, one of the most fun experiences you'll ever have, but it is hilarious. Like the dialogue, the like just the story itself, and the.
I mean, it was an old school third-person action platformer, like in the vein of Super Mario 64, Donkey Kong 64. It was that style of 3D platformers that were really big on the Nintendo 64, and not many of them were great. Like a lot of games tried to be Super Mario 64, but failed. But I would say Conker's Bad Fur Day was one of the rare exceptions. Except the controls were kind of rubbish, but that's just because of the time and the controller, and they were doing what they could with the controller at the time. Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, it's like even if you don't play it yourself and you just watch someone else play it, it's still amazing because it's hilarious.
So that's the only reason you have an Xbox.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Replay,
like, the only reason you have it. Okay.
All right.
Well.
Because Well, because it was basically I got Rare Replay, so I could play the Banjo Kazooie games and Conker's Bad Fur Day. But I did end up getting a couple of games on the Xbox because I used to play the Fable games, if you remember them.
Oh, Fable games are great. I've talked about Fable like the last 3 shows in
Yeah,
a row. I've mentioned
I know
Fable.
of it. I just never played it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I picked up. I think I've got all 3 of them. I can't remember. But yeah, I did play it for a little bit. But yeah, I just haven't. It's not that I've just got like I don't like the Xbox anymore. It's just that I've just got too much to play on the PlayStation.
I feel you.
Yeah, too much better stuff to play on the PlayStation. Just saying.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Thank you. What's your preferred game? Like, do you have a favorite game that you play on PlayStation or in like the entirety of your game?
I don't think I can answer that question. There's just too many.
No one can. It's a hard choice.
I mean, if it's too hard, you can generalize a little bit.
Yeah. Well, like I was saying before the show, I've been playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare a fair bit lately. That's yeah, I don't play a whole lot of online multiplayer, but I will play that. But Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I put so many hours into that game. I love it.
I believe Margot's the same, right? Margot's favorite game.
Yeah. Well,
she said Assassin's Creed the franchise was like her favorite thing, and she really liked Odyssey. But the whole controversy where like Odyssey is the least favorite of fans, from what she was saying. And I was like, is that really true though? Because I really like Odyssey.
Well, it's a bit divisive because a lot of people don't like that they've strayed away from the old gameplay mechanics, and now they're doing like it's just a straight up RPG now.
This could be literally my 5th or 6th or 8th millionth time on the show where we talk about Assassin's Creed, and I talk about how I feel like they did that after the first Assassin's Creed game, because I felt like the first Assassin's Creed game was the best one.
I'm like that though. I play for story. I'm not a big like open world gamer. I would like to just follow a story, and if I need to go do this and then that, which I think is probably why I had issue a little bit with The Witcher so far. I'm not super far into it, but like I would just want to do stuff for the story, and they're like, no, you got to go do side quests and you got to go do things to get a rating or build yourself up to this point to go do something for the story. And I'm like, I just want to do the story.
Honestly, that's pretty common for most RPGs, though.
Yeah, I'm not a big RPG player though, but I did like the first Assassin's Creed, so I would like to play more of them. But if there is more of that in it, I'm kind of like I start to lose interest.
It doesn't. Okay, so it doesn't really have like the strong RPG elements until Origins.
Okay, well, that's
right. That's when they kind of switched the format over to more of an RPG action game.
But, well, they introduced a level system in Origins.
Okay, I see.
Well,
so I've got plenty of games before then. Anyway,
a long podcast about Assassin's Creed.
We'll
make Margot happy.
The Assassin's Creed podcast. Yeah. So potentially Assassin's Creed Odyssey could be your favorite game or franchise.
Yeah, well, like I've got way too many to choose from. There's just because Assassin's Creed. I've always been a big Legend of Zelda fan. I've got a Switch. I've got Breath of the Wild on that. It was another amazing.
I love Breath of the Wild.
Who doesn't?
People who haven't played it because they don't know what they're missing.
I see a bit of a shifty eye.
See you hiding, Pagan.
Let me hide behind my giant microphone.
That's what it's there for, right?
Yeah.
To hide.
That's exactly why I got it. Give me the largest microphone you have. All right, Pagan.
Literally right now at this point where your microphone is sitting, it's just blending just right so it looks like you almost have like a photoshopped edited like black spot on your screen.
Yeah.
You can't see the fabric, you can't see the texture.
I think it's because of the light that I have bouncing off the wall. So it hits it in this weird way just here. So it's really light just here.
Yeah.
Which is why there's no texture on it.
You have like a acne black hole on your screen or something.
I have it edited in. That's how bougie I am. I don't have a microphone. I just edited one in.
Anywho.
Are there any games that you're looking forward to coming out this year or next year? Probably next year
Well,
now.
I mean, I think it goes without saying. The Last of Us Part Two.
You forgot
Oh
to
yeah, I've heard
exclude
about that
them.
game. Yeah, it sounds interesting. Never really got into that.
We generally exclude The Last of Us 2 from that question.
We do
I
genuinely
think
exclude it.
I think at this point it's kind of fair to leave it open now, since it's been like, we don't know when it's going to
True.
come out now.
That's
Yeah, well,
true.
that's apparently it's been delayed indefinitely now. So
Right.
Wait, what do you mean
I'm
indefinitely? Like there's no date
there's
to come
no
back,
set
or
release date.
Indefinitely
right then.
means it may or may not come out. Pretty
Yes, that's what
much.
I'm thinking. Like, so it's just not gonna come out. Whereas I feel like they put
I
enough
think
work
it's
into
just
that.
their way of
They're
being
gonna.
safe, especially with the whole coronavirus outbreak and everything, that they're just going to
True.
wait for all that to blow over and then go,
Yeah,
okay,
that
here
makes
you go. Now you can have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons is that because they already have delayed the release date a couple of times, so they don't want to just pick a new date and keep going back to that. They're
Yeah,
just
good
going
point.
to
Actually, very good
say
point.
no date, so that way they're not getting people's hopes up again.
Yeah, that covers their own butts at this
So-
point.
Yeah.
Sure. Cool. Yeah. So, like, I mean, is there with that kind of like experience and everything in mind, is there anything that you'd like to see now from the show going forward? Obviously, we know that there's been a big change
Yes.
with Retro Replay going forward without Troy Baker. Is there something that you'd like to see Nolan play, or Nolan and a guest play? Like that's a game, for example, like Breath of the Wild or something that you're like, oh, I'd really like to see his reaction to that.
Well, Breath of the Wild would definitely be tricky because it's such a huge game, and if they'll play a game like that, they definitely have to do a series out of it, because you can't. There's a lot of the games they play on the show. It's like the old Super Nintendo, Sega Mega Drive, or sorry, Genesis, depending on where you're from.
Whichever.
Those games, you can simply just take one chunk out of it, and that's entertaining enough.
Right, you kind of get the gist of it.
Right.
Yeah, you can just pick it up, play it for about half an hour and stuff like that. But these days, you can't even get through the loading screen in that time. So
True.
it'd be really difficult for them to do, because most of the episodes they do are just single episodes. So
Yeah.
I don't think a huge game would be viable for that. But there's still plenty of games, because retro games is their foundation. So
Sure.
there's still plenty of games, like games that I remember from my childhood that I'd love to see them play. Like I was actually thinking about this game recently, Saturday Night Slam Masters.
Saturday night, I'm gonna Google it.
Get to the Google.
It's a
What system was it for?
It's a wrestling game. Yeah, it's a wrestling game made by the people who made Street Fighter.
That's
Okay,
a Capcom game?
So
Yeah.
Saturday night,
Ew.
Saturday Night
Slam
Slam
Masters.
Masters. I was gonna say Street Fighter there for a second.
Slam
Jesus Christ.
Masters?
Slam Masters. No one will do a whole bunch with that. Like that's
Oh,
just
yeah.
that's comedy in the name,
Slam
Drew.
it.
like Slam Masters.
And then there's still plenty of other games, like Uni Rally on the Super Nintendo. That was a great one.
Uni Rally?
Yeah, basically
Not writing
you're
these
just,
down. You're playing them.
it's literally just a unicycle. No one riding it, just a unicycle on its own. And
now I remember that game.
A race.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's a race, but you can do like tricks and stuff.
Did it have a
if
different
you
name
land
in
on
the
it, boosts
States?
your speed. I think it was Uni Races.
Okay, because I feel like I remember playing that game way back when, but I don't remember it being called Uni Rally.
Yeah, I think it was Uni Races in other parts of the world.
I think I rented that
That's
game
what- it always
from the
gets-
grocery store.
It always
Yes, when you could actually like go to the grocery store and rent a
video
game.
games.
Mm-hmm.
That's two there, really. Like the Slam Masters and Uni Rally or Uni Races.
Yeah, depending on where you are.
I think both sound super fun. Like they sound like a fighting game and a racing game.
Yeah.
Sound like a good idea for the show. Something that no one
I
could play
generally think that any one of the like retro games that you can just kind of hop in and play makes for a good episode. And
True.
it's funny how sometimes the unexpected game can give you good content. Like you think, well, this game might not be interesting or fun to watch, but the guys make it fun. Whoever's playing it, moving
Yeah.
forward too, can make it interesting and make it fun.
Yeah. Oh, that's an interesting thing. Did you ever see an episode come up and be like, I don't know
Yeah,
how they're
like,
gonna make this fun.
how's this gonna work?
Yeah.
I mean, Home Alone.
Really, Home Alone, you were kind of like, oh, that's a bit dicey. I don't know how they're gonna make that
Well,
fun.
Well, it only took me to watch a few episodes before I realized that they really can just make a joke out of just about anything at this point, can't they?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And and they just it's like they call it tangent replay. It's like they start talking about things that have absolutely nothing to do with the game they're playing.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Thank you. So we're gonna move on into the one of the topics of this week's conversation is Uncle Noly knows. Uncle Noly, advice with Uncle Noly. What?
Uncle Noly knows.
Oh, I
What?
know.
I'm
That's
sorry, what?
fucking the gospel chicks in the background. I love it. Love it. Sometimes gets me every time. And it did happen in this week's episode.
Do you ever find yourself trying to
a very
predict this
specific-
sometimes?
All the time.
Like he'll do an
Yeah.
advice and it goes into the cutaway, and you're like, is it going to be
Yeah.
a sometimes because of what he said?
Yes,
Yeah.
totally do. I always find because sometimes what Nolan says would be on the border of
Exactly. Like,
is it, raunchy, and you're like, it's on the border. Where if it just tips over the edge, it's like sometimes it's definitely going to be in that sentence.
Yeah, it's like when they throw the sometimes in. It's like an audio cue to let the audience know, do not listen to this advice.
Yeah, definitely don't do it.
This
So this
is
week we got
not
a
what
brand
I
new
want.
episode. Yeah, exactly. It's just don't.
All right, sorry. You can give your. I'm sorry, I've interrupted
legal-
your. Just
they're
explain the show.
usually
Like,
just-
For legal reasons, we cannot recommend this advice.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, just some sort of disclaimer at the very bottom, like, please don't try this at home. Yeah. So we got an episode this week of Uncle Noly's advice, which was great. We got 7 questions, and one of them, coincidentally, was from you, Dustin.
Yes,
Which
it
was the one that he came out with. Uncle Noly knows sometimes.
Sometimes.
which one was your
Um,
question, Dustin? Because we did not plan this.
Right? No, we did not plan
Uh,
this. Doing research, obviously, for Uncle Noly knows, and I heard the username come up, and I was like, "That's
Ah.
Dustin! How fucking coincidental! What a great." We didn't plan this, but I wish we did.
What do you
So
know?
good.
Well, you did
What do
try
you
to take
know?
credit for it earlier.
Who?
You.
Oh, me? Yeah. No, well, pre-show, I was like, "Wait, isn't that your question?" You're like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Yes." Brilliant.
Yep, we planned it.
Totally planned.
So which
totally
one was
stepped out of it.
Dustin's?
Dustin's username is Rubber Ducky. Isn't that right, Dustin?
Well, the question.
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Dustin, do you want to read out your question? Do you know your
question? Yeah, my question was, what's a quick way to make money over the weekend?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Uncle Noly's advice
I remember now.
was go to Vegas if you don't have lockjaw, and you'll make a ton of money.
That
I
kid
just went Uncle
is
Noly
a
sometimes.
fellatio joke.
That's a fellatio joke. Yes, it is. That got me. I feel like in this episode, that got me. That was a real good one. I had a good chuckle at that one. All right.
That would have been my
Well-
favorite if there wasn't another one that's actually my favorite from this episode.
What's your favorite, Dan?
My favorite from this episode was, if he doesn't give you the job, I'll break his legs.
That was another thing that stood out for me, and I was like, that is hilarious. If it doesn't give you the job, I'll break his legs. And I was like, that's great.
I'll break his
I'm going to
legs.
use that every time I go into an interview. I presume, Dustin, your favorite would have been your own question. Am I right? Or no?
That's a harsh
well,
presume.
I am a little bit biased.
Brilliant.
Love it.
Why shouldn't you be? I thought the interview, genuine interview advice slipped in there, which was super lovely.
Oh, that was
Don't
great.
feign confidence. Actually bring confidence. You are worthy of the job. Just go in.
He does slip in some genuine advice from time to time.
He does.
Yeah. I
And
like
then
when he hits on things as
followed
far as
directly by your question, which was just pure crack.
I like how he hits on things that sometimes people just need to be told, we're all clumsy and awkward. This is what
Yeah.
nervous means, to feel these feelings that you're having. It's not just
Yeah.
you. It's not your the only one struggling with this. We
Yeah.
all do. So like
Yeah.
a lot of people sometimes they just get really in and on themselves, and you have to kind of like slap them in the face with something like that.
Yeah. That's true. We had some great questions in this week, though. We had the pre-boarding thing. I thought was hilarious. Peeing on the seats. Don't ever fly with Nolan. Don't ever fly with Nolan.
My main confusion with that question was, why would somebody ask about flying and with asserting your dominance on the plane? Like, is that a thing? Like, do you need to do that?
No,
Are you supposed to assert your dominance on the plane?
That was just a joke question.
I feel like it could have been a joke question, but in all seriousness, I feel like what they meant was when somebody sits next to you in a seat, they automatically take the armrests, they spread their legs out a little bit so they're coming into your seat. So I feel like on a long flight, like a 12-hour flight in like coach,
you got to rip a big fart.
Yeah, you're just kind of like, well, I mean, look, anytime I go on a flight like that, if I'm on like the 8 to 12-hour flight or whatever, like I'm relatively small person. I can fit in the middle row in any of the seats. I'm comfortable anywhere, but I find that like people who do have this thing where they're like, okay, well, this is my space and like I need this space for 12 hours. That's super uncomfortable because they'll like come into your space and they're taking up half your seat without you even knowing it.
So
and
like
you just like make yourself smaller and you're like,
there's just some people who would just be like, well, my arm is going over the armrest and you have to deal with it.
Basically, yeah. So pee on the seats is so uncomfortable because, like, I mean, I bring Adam on. We go on flights. We go places. You know, the many actors that I hire to be Adam, they're all relatively tall. And
there's a height requirement, right?
There's a height requirement because, I mean, we have to have some sort of consistency. It has to be like.
So that you can get those pictures of where your head's in frame, but he's just out of it, or else because if he's too short, it's not going to work.
Exactly. And if he's too tall, the chest won't be in like proportion. So it has to be this specific. Listen, casting is tough. Okay, we got to do what we got to do. But yeah, anytime we go anywhere, like his like his knees are. Yeah, I feel like if nobody's listened to this podcast before, they have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about.
Or Dave.
Or Dave. Poor Dave. Inside joke.
That's meta.
That is meta. The other advice that I wanted to share. By the way, the job advice interview from for Uncle Noly, the question was from Najiba, and shout out to Najiba because I believe Najiba is also a fellow South African, and we communicate quite a lot in chat. So shout out Najiba. Also, I had a good chuckle at Ryan's question, Robot Ninja Shark. He's like, "How do you be the best dad in the world?" He's like, you get in line, buddy. And I thought that was so relatable. Like, I'm sure everybody wants to be the best dad in the world. And then finally, you're just like, just don't fuck up the kids. They're a feature.
That's what it really boils down to.
Yeah. I think, like, in one of the first episodes when, like, Troy had just had a baby and Nolan was giving him, like, genuine dad advice. Yeah, it was, like, one of the most wholesome bits of the episode. But eventually he was just like, just, keep your kid alive. And you're gonna be great.
Just don't let him die.
Yep, sure, Nolan. Speaking of like a goldfish or something, it was very funny. Moving swiftly on to today's bigger topic. So obviously we've had massive news in the community recently where Troy Baker again is leaving the couch and moving on to his own content on YouTube, which we're super excited for. So this week they had brought out a video of the top 10 moments of retro replay for Troy. And I just wanted to see, what was your favorite moment on the show? And if you thought, like, what did you think of the video? Should something have been included that you didn't get to see that you're kind of like, oh, I wish that was there? Or this is my memorable moment from Troy?
As far as the actual top 10 goes, my favorite bit was the Shaq Fu rage quit.
Yes.
Brilliant. And then just to have Nolan start singing the tune from Spider-Man as he got this really smug smile on his face. It was perfect. And because I watched it again a second time and I just saw like Troy the moment he snaps, he just flings the controller. I'm surprised he didn't hit Nolan in the face with it because he just he wasn't like watching, he just like flings it.
It did zip like across his chest.
Yeah, he has chucked the controller before and it's landed on Nolan's nuts. Like that was hilarious. And one of those episodes was great. Very, very beginning ones.
Yeah, but Nolan still wins because he broke the TV.
True that. True
But
that.
I loved the thing that I like the whole pineapple on the pizza thing is still one of my favorite moments of all time, simply because how it started. It wasn't even any like Nolan just because they were talking about pizza and toppings and stuff like that. And Nolan said, "Are you ready? We're going to do this." And without even mentioning pineapple, Troy knew exactly where he was going.
Yeah. Yeah. Because Nolan is fine with it on pizza, and Troy is like,
I like pineapple on
I'm-
pizza. I think it's
I'm with
delicious.
Troy on this one.
It's so
Ooh, this is a very
good.
divisive conversation. But
Uh-oh.
because I'm for it. I'm for pineapple. In fact, yesterday I had a banana on my pizza.
I've heard about that. I
So-
want to try it. It sounds good.
So tasty. Super, super tasty. Banana and bacon specifically is just beautiful.
I just have meat and cheese. That's pretty much all I have.
I do like
Dude, meat and cheese is fine. I'm fine with meat and cheese too. There's
actually-
definitely an innuendo there somewhere.
I didn't get into the pineapple on pizza. Like, what here it's generally a Hawaiian, like the ham with pineapple.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
say
that's
that.
that's what they call it. Yeah.
Like, a buddy of mine used to order pizzas, and he called it the pigs because it had ham, sausage, bacon, pretty much all of the pork products you could get on it. And then he
Right.
would get it with the pineapple. So I think he usually ordered like a Hawaiian and added all that stuff. So it was loaded with meat, but also had the pineapple on it. And I'm like, damn, this is delicious. And then I tried just the regular Hawaiian after that, and I'm like, this is good too. And I'm just happy with that.
Yeah. I'm happy with
Well,
Hawaiian.
I-
Honestly, I think it's one of my favorite toppings.
I like
I,
weird foods though
uh,
too, because I'm German. I think I don't know.
What
Pigs.
was
Well,
your thoughts on this retro replay? Firstly, I should probably say that like Nolan did a video from home. This week has been 2 weeks, and this video has been 2 weeks in the making. Where they're kind of pulling together a really good send off for Troy and sort of honoring his best moments of the show. Some of his best moments. Let's not say the best, because like there are plenty of moments on there that could have been. Could have gone to 50 or 100. Yeah, he's got loads. So some of the best moments on Retro Replay for Troy, which was a really nice, honorable send-off. He did also very briefly address the fighting rumors and everything. People will be tweeting about like fist fights and shit, which is interesting that he like cleared the air. But they're all super appreciative of the love and support for all the parties involved with Nolan, the show, Drew, PJ, everybody on the show, and Troy and his new venture with YouTube and his new content creation, which is kind of nice. It was like a really nice touch to address the elephant in the room and not just open the episode, just be like, hey, here's the thing.
Yeah, I thought that Nolan did a good job with that intro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you have thoughts on the video yourself on top 10 moments? Dan, are your top 10 moments for
My
your
top 10
moment?
moments?
Your
Well,
top moment for
I definitely
Troy?
have some thoughts and ideas. Well, the first thing that strikes me is this top 10 Troy list, I feel, is missing something that I can't believe isn't on there. And I'm assuming you might have something to say about that, Pagan.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll leave it to you then.
Well, I feel go ahead. Sure. There's plenty on there that was not mentioned, and I was like,
but it wasn't even on
guys.
the honorable mentions. Like,
I know.
okay,
Two
so
big
anyways,
things.
of what's
Okay.
on the
There
list,
was one that I thought should have been on there as well.
we'll get to that.
Mm-hmm.
So of the list,
Right.
what is on there, my favorite of what made it on the list that I think is a little special for me and Pagan is the shit that baby out the window.
Dude, that gets me every time.
That was one
I
of
was
the-
even watching the episode back today, not the RoboCop episode, but like the top 10 moments. And I swear to God, every time, like even just that small section of conversation where they're like, don't you get that in the toilet. You better shit that baby out the window. Oh man. Oh, I crack up. I love it.
That
It's
was
so good.
going like back and giving you some history on the podcast. That was one of the first conversations that me and Pagan had, talking about like our favorite moments in the show and how hilarious we thought that was. And then I made a soundbite out of it and I spammed it in the first few episodes of the podcast.
It's fine. It shall live there in memory. It's so good. Shit that kid out the window. Loved it. Any other mentions from that episode, Dan?
I mean, I feel like there were some good ones, and I also feel like
Mhm.
there was one in particular that I don't know why it was on there.
Oh, which one?
The Deb from accounting moment.
Ooh, Debt from Accounting. You know what? Actually, I would semi-agree
That one
because
didn't stand out to me, so let me hear what you got.
I think Debt from Accounting. So Debt from Accounting was from the Golden Axe episode, season 1. And the second one I would have said was Philip in the Knights of the Round, season 2.
See, now I like that one. I like Philip.
Yeah, see, I would have interchanged those two with Seamus the Knight,
Mm-hmm.
Ghost of Goblins, and Phil Kensington.
Right? How are those two
Phil
not on there?
Kensington!
How are those
we have
two
been spamming that kind of joke
not
on the
on
show
there?
for 40 episodes. Like, Phil Kensington always makes it in somewhere.
I'll give
Yeah.
it this. Like, I'll say this.
Well,
If
Phil
Drew, if you're
Kensington
hearing
is one
this,
of the most recurring jokes, I think.
I will say
Yeah,
that
definitely is.
the only thing I could think of why those two things didn't make it on the list because they're not strictly Troy, but they were
True.
him
True.
that kind of
Yeah.
birthed them. Because Phil Kensington was definitely Troy for the most part, like 90%
No,
of it.
Phil Kensington was definitely Troy.
Well, I
If
mean,
you go
as
back
far
to
as
Ninja
like,
Gaiden, like,
no, I know, and it was all Troy. But then like Nolan
Mm.
eventually kind of adopted like the brother scenario and started playing
Sure.
off of it. But it was definitely
Marty.
Troy's baby. Like he definitely birthed that idea. He was the one that made it a
Sure.
thing. And just like Seamus the Knight, that was him. It was Troy singing that. That was all
Mm.
Troy up until the "and I'm naked" from Nolan.
Yeah.
But still,
Yeah.
like, how are
Yes.
neither of those
The
two
punch
moments
fight
on
was
here?
definitely Nolan's.
I will say, I feel like that was also a divisive opinion in the community as well, just on different social medias too, that Phil Kensington and Seamus the Knight both did not get any mention, including honorable mentions. Look, again, like I say, like you could do 1,000 best moments of Troy Baker on the show. Like these were just some of the highlights. I love Deb from Accounting, but I understand like how somebody might be like, that is hilarious. Put that in as number, what was it, 5? Like number 5 was great. Whereas like that wouldn't have been my number 5 moment. Like I would have loved to have seen Seamus the Knight there or Phil Kensington, especially Phil Kensington. But like honorable mentions like Frank and Edith would have been great. I know that it's all again like Troy and Nolan, but together it was so fantastic. And I feel like top 10 Troy moments is super great, and I feel like they could have definitely put Troy and Nolan moments in there because they sure did with Nip and Tuck.
Of course. And like,
You know,
obviously Nip and Tuck was a whole, it was Troy and Nolan. Nip and Tuck,
it was Troy
those
and
are two
Nolan.
characters, and they could have
Yeah.
sectioned it out to be just like the Troy bits.
Yeah, like Frank and Edith. Or
anyways, Drew, you better tell us why those two weren't on this list.
Well, that's the issue, because it always comes down, like, because no matter how much you fine tune a top 10 list, there's always going to be someone
That's exactly
who,
it.
you know, disagree
True.
with the choices. So
Agreed. I feel like there's just
and
there will always be
they didn't do like
yeah.
they didn't do like a poll or anything. So
No, it
True.
wasn't like a fan vote. It was probably just internal.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably just, you know, like based on like how many views the video got, what, you know, what people talked about in the comment section and you know, social media. So
Yeah. 100% agree.
It could have just been like, you know, the team's favorite moments.
I think it was probably more the team's favorite moments, and I think like those are
That
good
sounds
moments.
good to
Like
me.
I still loved all of them, and they would have all made my top 10, except I would have put Seamus the Knight and Phil Kensington in personally for me. Personally, the best moment of all time is shit that kid out the window or shit that baby out the window, because I choked on whatever I was drinking at that moment, because it was the first moment I thought, holy shit, did I just hear that? Like,
Yeah.
did they put no, you know what happened? That was one of my first moments where I choked on it. I laughed so hard and I went, wait, did they not? They shot that and they still went, yeah, let's keep it. It's fucking funny. Like, and it's such a controversial like thing. Like that's how, and that kind of humor is like, look, it's stuff that like some of my friends would say, and like it's just so funny, inherently funny, but it's not something that we would put on like YouTube or anything.
I could
So when I
totally
first
see that
heard it,
being.
I was like so taken aback that I choked on whatever I was drinking. But like,
I could absolutely see
funniest
that
moment.
being like a Drew moment where Drew just sees that and he just laughs his ass off and he's like, I love it. That's happening.
In all,
Yeah.
in all fairness, Drew was probably like, I probably shouldn't put this in the video, but
Yeah.
But I
I'm going
like
to
it so
anyway.
much.
Yeah. I honestly
It's
hope
just
that somebody
it's
was
just too
like,
good not to put in.
Yeah, I hope that somebody was like, you know what, we shouldn't do it, and someone else, whoever was editing, just went, "Fuck it, let's do it anyway." It's
Yeah,
so
Fuck it.
oh fuck, that was the funniest moment I've ever had on Retro Replay, for sure. Phil Kensington, super great. Love Phil Kensington. Feel like we all know that. And Seamus the Knight obviously is great. They've done a whole show, a live show, and some of it centered around Seamus the Knight sing along, and I feel like that could have been honorable mention. So I was a little disappointed I didn't see it, but it's my honorable mention now.
Nice.
Well, I've got two that I would have liked to have seen there, but at the same time, I understand why they weren't in there.
Okay. Go ahead.
The first one was at the end of Kid Icarus, where it's the whole send it in Raw thing, which I know it's primarily a Nolan bit, but it's just Troy's reaction to that is priceless.
Yeah.
It's just
what was his reaction?
It was just like he was just panicking, like because Nolan was just giving this blatantly terrible advice.
Yeah.
And he's going, no, you can't.
He's like,
say
please
that.
don't do that. You can't say that. Yeah, basically trying to be like, please censor Nolan. No, stop.
Nice.
Yeah, someone put a muzzle on him. And, so arguably one of my most favorite moments in the history of the show, which is the Sushi Roulette story.
Oh my gosh, yeah, with Travis Willingham?
Travis Willingham, yeah.
Yeah, the ball sack bursting in his mouth. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that. I remember that. Yeah. Good. Yeah, that was a good story. I feel like there's been a lot of good stories on the show, and like Jeff Goldblum impressions, and like fuck Jeff Speakman, like all that kind of stuff was so good. I really liked those.
Troy
those
has
episodes.
surprising number of interactions with like other random celebrities to just regale us with.
He's like the majority of like the name drop section. Like just anytime. Actually, it seems to be fair, actually spread out between the two of them. It's probably 50-50, but yeah, it was pretty good. I also Sunset Riders.
Yeah.
That would have been great. I loved that episode. It's one of my favorite episodes.
I love Sunset Riders.
Sunset Riders was a great episode for me because I remember playing that game when I was a kid. Oh. And I spent years trying to figure out what the hell game that was. I'm like, I can't remember what it was called. I've been trying to find this game, and then they play it on the show. I'm like, that's the game that I used to play.
Oh, there's nothing like that sense of relief when you couldn't remember something, and then you find it out, and you're like, yes, this is the thing I was looking for. Yeah. Man, I get that.
But yeah, that's what happened with that game. It's like, oh, that's the game that I was trying to think of.
Yeah, man, it's good. Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of all I had to say about Troy's top moments. I feel like the list that they made was excellent. I really agreed with pretty much everything that was on there. Anus, you make vote for me. Perfect.
Anus.
Die Hard, the love of Die Hard.
Love me some Die Hard.
If anything, thank you, Troy, for bringing us your love of Die Hard. Like, Jesus.
That's why I'm
all the
here.
South Park references.
The Die Hard is the episode is why I'm even here doing this podcast now.
The love of Die Hard was just great because I feel like you could see his passion, and like he's just so like it was just passionate about that show, and then like playing the game and bringing that love of it into the Retro Replay show was super special.
I was just going to say, and to have it all crushed because the game was
it was shit.
I played that game. I've had that game.
Sad, like but like
I didn't
likewise,
mind the game, but I can appreciate the fact that is not how it goes in the movie. So
yeah true.
I wanted to send them a game after that. I was gonna look for a copy of Die Hard Nakatomi Plaza for PC because you actually play through all of the events of the game or the movie. I mean, in that game,
was that a rail shooter?
No, it was a first-person shooter. Like, it was from Sierra Games, who also made like the Alien vs Predator games, and it was like 1-to-1. It was legit. Like you would sneak around through the air ducts, you would see the like CEO guy getting shot and killed, and then like have these gun battles with the thugs in the different locations, and you'd even get to like that vent shaft with the model poster on the wall that he sees.
Yeah.
It was a really good game. It was solid.
That just reminds me. That just reminds me. I gotta quickly go and grab something. I'll be right back.
All right. Okay. Hey, look at
Hey,
that!
nice.
Hey, that is sick.
Unfortunately, it's only a shirt, not a proper sweater like it was in the movie. But
Yeah, I mean,
you
he
gotta work with what you
made
got.
it. Yeah, like Troy made his one for the show. I thought that
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
really like that
What
got
better way
me.
to
I'm not gonna
make a
lie.
that
prop?
is commitment.
Yeah, that got me because like they were like, okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna film the Die Hard special, and Troy was like, I'm gonna go like he probably was like, I'm gonna have to go look for this shirt or the sweatshirt, and probably couldn't find it. Was like, fuck it, I'm gonna make my own. And I thought that was like, oh, like he super loves this
Arts and
fucking film,
crafts.
arts and crafts. Yeah, I thought
I mean,
that
it's
was
pretty
really
easy to like just go to the store and grab like a gray sweater and some
Yeah.
red paint and just do the.
perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was great. Yeah, I feel like I have mentioned all of my own honorable mentions. Is there any other honorable mention or a message or anything like that that you'd like to send to Troy? Not that he listens, but sure, look if he does. Nope. Okay.
Well, I was just gonna say, like it's bittersweet, like because we
Oh,
all got
definitely.
used to seeing
Yeah.
Troy and Nolan together, and it's sad that it's not going to be the dynamic duo anymore. But
Yeah.
it's also like it's like they always say, one door closes, another one opens.
Yeah.
So I definitely am. I definitely am interested to see what Troy is going to be doing next. I'm
Good.
definitely going to be checking that out when he starts doing his own content.
Mhm.
And I am interested to see what's going to happen with the format of the show, because they in the announcement they said that they were going to have different guests. So I'd be interested to see who they're going to bring on. So
Yeah,
that
for sure.
it's
Agreed. Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting now to see what content they'll put out during quarantine. Like, like
Yeah.
like if this hadn't gone down, it'd be so nice to get guests in on the couch and like let's just film an episode. Whereas now we're in quarantine and it's like, well,
They've
how are
been
you gonna
utilizing like
make
existing content
episodes?
so far.
Yeah. So now
So
I'm
they
super
done
intrigued.
2 lost episodes.
Yeah. But I feel like they're not going to release any further because obviously Troy is now no longer part of the show. He's going to be stepping off. So I feel like they're going to have to come up with creative content. Now, like from the live chat, I know PJ and Stephanie were also saying, that like Drew is working on something with Nolan for content coming out in the coming weeks. So I'm super excited to see what they're going to do with this because like this quarantine has made everything harder for content creators, but also like makes them more creative, if that makes sense. Like they're kind of figuring out ways to get around these kind of issues. So I'm super excited to see what they're going to come up with for next week.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see how they're going to do this up, because like I was saying, they've done what was it, two lost episodes.
Yep.
So I wonder, like, do they have any more lost episodes? Are they going to maybe do like a compilation or something like that?
Maybe.
But yeah, it's hard to tell what's going to happen because it's like you said, the quarantine. Like, how are they going to do it?
It'll just be Drew at home playing video games.
Perfect. I would watch that. Drew on Twitch. Just also watch it. That's great. Nolan on Twitch. I don't care. Live stream it. Be great crack.
Yeah.
I do still want to see Nolan play Deadpool, but
I think
we've
they're
had
gonna
that
save that
request
for
a few
last.
times. Yeah, and actually,
someone sent a copy in.
Greg did. I was gonna say, yeah, Greg's
Yeah.
actually sent them a copy of Deadpool, so that'd be super great if they could play that. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Did you want to throw anything else out before we wrapped up?
Yeah, I had one thing I was going to kind of go off of what Dustin said about the bittersweetness of it all, because obviously Troy will be missed on the show, and
definitely
we're still like really hopeful and excited for everything that's to come, whether it's Troy's new original content or what's going to happen with Retro Replay and the content we're going to get there. But the one thing that's going to be a little like, is, as you know, like me and Brandy together as a couple, Brandy had upgraded her membership to Altered Beast.
Membership
with the
upgrades.
intention and hope to get a shout out of the two of us.
Right.
Like
okay.
Greg and Sarah kind of did. And now it doesn't look like we're going to get that.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be the like what it has been up to this point, where to have the guys together, like we were both looking forward to having that the two of them seeing, like the other retro replay couple, as it were. I think it
So,
also goes
yeah,
to the notion of the
interesting
fact that
question.
I haven't met either of the guys yet, too. And it's like,
Oh, true. Yeah.
now I'll never
Yeah,
have that
true.
Troy and Nolan retro replay moment really to look forward to. I'm sure there's
Sure.
still a very
I
real
guess you mean.
possibility that I can meet them together at some convention that I'm sure they'll have tables next to each other still. But,
Probably with Tina and James.
yes.
Shout out. Yes. Yeah, probably. And I feel like those moments are coming. Like, and Troy's got new content coming. You don't know what's going on there or what's happening with that new content, and that's exciting as well. So you just never know. There's more opportunity for that if you would like, I guess, more shout outs or opportunities with Troy. Not just you, like for fandom in general. People will have those opportunities for content with Troy. And right now we'll just like focus on the show, like with Nolan and potentially other guests. Is there any guest, just before we wrap up, is there any guest that you would like to see on their show coming forward?
Oh, there's definitely a few. Like it'd be nice to see like Richard McGonigal, because we never got to see him in the Uncharted playthroughs, so that'd definitely be a good one.
True.
Yeah. Is there anybody you'd like to see, Dan?
Well, right off the top of my head, the first thought I had would be other like voice actors that I'm fans of. Like any other voice actors that have been big video game actors. Like first that come to mind is David Hayter and Steve Bloom.
Ooh, good choices.
Like I would love to see either of those two on the couch with Nolan.
They are very good choices. I think, I would love to see Claudia Back come on. I loved her as a guest. She was hilarious. Definitely one of their best guests. Good. And Alison Hayslip, like, beautiful. Yeah, I think the only other person I thought of was Liam McIntyre from their Australia live feed chat thing. Yes. Love to see him involved in the show. Like, I think that'd be super nice. Even just like guest spot episode or whatever. Like, I think that'd be really good.
He had crossed my mind too, because I remember the Uncharted episode he guested on, and he was actually really fun and entertaining on that episode. Yeah.
I think he's got such a good humor, and he matches really well with Nolan, and I think he would make a great guest on the show.
Yeah. Well, this I had another idea, but this will probably never happen. But
maybe.
given that they've both played the same character, it'd be nice to see Nolan North and Ryan Reynolds.
Wow, that would be amazing. Ooh, Ryan has often shouted Nolan North out in the games.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's an episode actually of a Jacksepticeye on YouTube. Is an episode where Jacksepticeye and Ryan Reynolds play Deadpool for a little bit for an interview. Highly recommend watching that. It's super, super good. Why do this adjective? Super.
This is not
popping up a lot lately, and I need to remove that from my vocabulary because it's not pun intended, and it's just coming out. It's a really good show to watch. It's a really good episode. But yeah, like I think I can't remember what he says exactly, but Jacksepticeye had referenced the game or the game actor, never said his name, and then Ryan Reynolds said something like, "Oh, Nolan North, that man's a genius." And I was like, oh, that'd be so cool. Like, I'm so sure Ryan Reynolds would do it too.
Yeah.
Even if it's like cross quarantine video or whatever, like I'm so sure he'd be down for it.
That could be a super fun like guest episode.
Rep him or anything, but
that's like I think it'd just be interesting simply because they could talk about their experiences playing the same character. And
Bethany Rodriguez would not be watching that episode.
No, she will not.
No, she will not. But yeah, I think you're totally right, Dustin. I think it'd be interesting to see how two actors come together about the one character.
Yeah, really and another like, because a lot of people have been a little bit.
Ooh, what about Christopher Walken?
Yes, that would be too real. I would expect him to slide off the bottom of the screen. I'm just like. It'd be really good.
Like people have been talking, because now that Troy's left the show, what's going to happen with Uncharted 3, Uncharted 4?
Sure.
So I think like you talked about Claudia Black, but I think also Emily Rose.
Oh, sure. Yeah, definitely.
That should be interesting.
yeah, so Emily Rose would definitely be a good one to have on there.
You mean sitting opposite of
Like, you
Nolan
know,
as he plays Uncharted?
yeah, as
That's
in like a
interesting.
for the whole playthrough.
Right.
I would like to hope that they would continue their Uncharted playthroughs, and for their fourth one, I would love to see Troy back on the show as a guest. For
Oh,
Sam Drake, I
definitely.
feel like if you did 4 and you didn't put him
He
in it,
would
or
have
Laura
to come
Bailey,
back.
yeah, you'd have to put somebody in there. But I think you're right. With 3, it'd be great for Emily Rose. She was a great guest on the
Yeah,
show.
well, definitely. Well, because with the 2 that they've done so far, and as well as the Last of Us playthrough, they saved the special guest for the end. So like at the end of Uncharted 1 and 2, they had Amy Hennig,
Yes.
and then for the Last of Us, they had
Neil Druckmann.
yeah, that's it. Sorry,
It's okay.
Neil Druckmann and
Ashley
Johnson.
Johnson. There we go.
We'll get you there.
Trying to jog the memory there. Just give you a little quick memory quiz in the morning on
But
a
yeah,
Sunday.
so at the very least, they should just they could like if they can't get Troy for the main part of the playthrough, they could bring him in like
Bring
for
in
the last
actors
bit.
that were. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. I think even if Troy just guested on one episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed. We are accord. Perfect. So we're gonna wrap the show up. We're running a little over now, I think. So if anyone is looking to follow you on socials, or if there's anything that you'd like to promote, Dustin, this is the opportunity we give our guests to do it.
I don't really have anything to promote.
Perfect. Just kidding. Do you want anybody to follow on socials? Are you active on a particular group or anything like that? If anybody would like to speak to you or ask you questions, they won't.
Not really. But I mean, I'm active in the retro replayers Facebook group, so
yeah.
Are you
happy to talk there?
Are you under the name Rubber Ducky on the YouTube live chats?
Yes, that's my actual YouTube
that's you
username. So
well, we know how to keep
just
an eye
to
out for
recognize you
you
in live chat.
Right.
Yeah, well, I do try to get on the live chats when I can, but a lot of the times they do the live chats while I'm at work, so it's hard for me to get on.
Oh, okay, cool.
So yeah.
Well, if we ever saw you, at least know that you're Rubber Ducky.
Yeah.
We will
and yeah, the Retro Replay Replayers Facebook group is a lot of times where obviously how I met you, and where a lot of replayers are now meeting each other. I know Drew and PJ are also part of that group now too. So if anybody's interested, you can request an ad on that page as well as the Discord. Dan, would you like to promote or anything on socials, sir?
Well, the main thing that I'm promoting is my Twitch stream where I like to play video games and get people to watch me play video games.
Such a weird thing, though, actually, if you really think about it, isn't it? Like, it's so strange. In general, Twitch in general.
I've always found
consider starting. Sorry.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say I had thought about considering trying to do the whole Twitch thing, but I don't know.
You should.
I don't know.
I mean, go for it. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah, well, I thought about doing it because I've got a lot of older games. Because I've got a Sega Mega Drive.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1. I got the little.
I play a lot of
Nintendo
old
consoles,
games on my stream, so
yeah.
Well, that's what I wanted to do, like play some of the older stuff because I mean, you play the newer games that's coming out, everyone's doing that. So
yeah,
I thought about playing some of the older stuff, and I mean, I've got
nice Mario Kart 64.
Oh, nice.
Mario Kart 64, so definitely
do it.
Some of the older stuff.
I recommend. I know Dan has had a good bit of. You've got a good rise on your Twitch right now, Dan.
Yeah,
got a good rise.
It's accelerated a lot, especially since I've been Twitch streaming for probably 5 years, and it's only been in like the last month that it's just kind of like, pew! Like I've gotten a lot more people.
I didn't even know Twitch had been around for that long.
Twitch has been around a very long time. Very long time.
But I can say at least I feel like we're getting really close to nailing down a schedule with our stream. So it's feeling closer and closer to Wednesday, Friday, and Sundays are streaming days for us. And it would be Sundays are our Zombies and Coffee morning show where I make Brandy play and or watch me play Resident Evil while we have coffee in the morning. Wednesdays now is kind of like our group play of whichever game we are feeling at that time. Like this past week we played Journey to the Savage Planet co-op. That was super fun. We might keep doing that for a while. And now I think Friday is going to be my solo I play by myself day. It's just going to be me playing whatever I feel like playing. Most recently I played the Godzilla PS4 game, and I may keep doing that because I had fun playing it and I had fun with my audience watching and interacting with me. So that's going to keep up with that. Otherwise, my socials are Stark Evil Vash on most platforms, and you can find me on Twitter at Stark E Vash. That's StarkYVash. And I'm done.
And I'm done. We're gonna put all the links to socials and everything down in the comments below. So if you do want to follow, you can click a link or check the name on the below. With me, it's the same with Twitch. I stream twice a week, Tuesday and Thursdays. The minute I'm playing God of War on Tuesdays, Rise of the Tomb Raider on Thursdays. If anything, Dustin, I highly recommend it because it kind of actually gives me an allotted time to play games. So I feel like if I didn't have it, I probably would have been doing other things and I don't actually get to explore games that I wanted to play or replay. And now I'm actually getting to replay God of War and Rise of the Tomb Raider twice a week. You know what I mean? Like I have these 2 hours set in stone. So that's kind of how I would look at it. I really enjoy it for that reason. You can find me on Twitch at Pagan_plays. And Pagan_plays on Instagram as well. And on Twitter, I am at AppleEyes2. The E and the L are reversed. So you can pop that in the show notes below. I know, super complicated, but just Google Pagan Plays and you shall see this face. So thank you so much for joining us today, Dustin. It's been a real special to have you on here.
Well, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure. I also want to shout out to Drew, Nolan, Troy, and PJ, Tom, Stephanie, Paul, everybody on the show that for everything that you guys do, because without you, this Replayer podcast would not exist. You can leave us a voice message on the Replayer podcast, just like Drew did several episodes ago, by clicking on the link in the show notes, and we'll play it on the show. We hope that you've enjoyed our podcast. If you'd like to hear more from us, please go ahead and like and subscribe, comment below, rate and review. And if you have any questions, you can email them over to thereplayerpodcast@gmail.com. You can also now find us on Facebook and Twitter at The Replayer Podcast on both of those platforms. And we upload every Wednesday to YouTube, but we're now adding audio on Mondays, right?
Yes.
Audio every Monday, video every Wednesday. So yeah, pop by.
Ideally.
Again, thank you for your time. And that's game over, folks.
Game over.
We're done. Woo!